Hey guys, welcome to my new video. Today we're going to be solving my physics friction problem that I created. So it's how many humans would it take to move the Empire State Building on a surface made entirely of rubber? So our unknown is going to be P, which represents the number of people. So I googled and found the mass of the Empire State Building, the maximum applied force the average human can exert, which is 225 newtons, and then the coefficient of static friction of rubber on concrete, which is 1, which is actually very high. So in order for the building to move, the magnitude of the applied force must be equal to the force of friction, which relates to Newton's first law of motion. And we will find what this magnitude is using the coefficient of static friction in order to find the force of friction. So just now illustrating a force of friction versus time graph. At the maximum static friction force, that's when motion will begin. Now I'm going to draw an interaction diagram and a force diagram just so that we can see the forces involved in this situation. So first we have the ground, which interacts with the building through the force of friction and the normal force, and of course that's the ground, which is covered in rubber. And then we have the earth, which interacts with the building through the force of gravity, and the people, which interact with the building through the applied force. And so again, the forces in the x direction, the net force is equal to 0, and we assume the only forces in the x direction is the force of friction and the applied force. So now we are going to algebraically solve for the force of friction using the equation the force of friction is equal to the coefficient of static friction times the normal force. So now that we found the force of friction, which is that very large number, we know that this magnitude is equal to the applied force, so that the net force is equal to 0 and we can have constant motion. Using the magnitude of the applied force, we are going to find how many humans are needed to exert this large amount of force, knowing that one person can exert 225 newtons. And just as you guessed, it takes 13.6 million people. 13.6 million. Wow, that's a lot of people. To put that into context, that's more people than all of these countries individually, their population. Would you look at that? And also, 13.6 million is the approximate population of Ontario, so collectively, our province can move the Empire State Building on a surface made of rubber. That's crazy. Thanks for watching.